Lincoln Riley and Chip Kelly talk nice at Pac-12 Media Day. Reggie Bush, on the other hand, does not. Clayton Kershaw is edging ever so closer to a return to the Dodgers rotation. And has LAFC lost a critical midfielder? It's the foreign press, so we don't know for sure. Good morning. I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is the faithful Angelenos morning report. So it is sunrise over Tulsa, Oklahoma. It is sticky, it is steamy, it is nasty. It's July 22nd, 2023. I can't wait to get back home. But it's not all bad. We added new subscribers to the Angeleno Familia yesterday. Thank you for getting in on the ground floor. It means a lot. And if you like being in the know about LA sports, clickety-clack the like button. Clickety-clack the subscribe button. There's a notification bell. Hit that. It'll let you know we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And comment. There's always good stuff to talk about. Now, before we go through the news and notes and look at the scoreboard, Freddie Freeman just went nuts yesterday. The dude goes 2 for 4. He hits a home run. He scores 3 times. He drives in 3 runs. One-man wrecking crew. Dodgers 11, Texas 5. Your first place Los Angeles Dodgers lead the NL West by 3 games. Meanwhile, today the Dodgers are still in Texas at 1 o'clock. Bobby Miller, he's 5-1 with a 4.25 ERA. Dane, don't call him Dave, it's Dane Dunning. He's actually pretty good. 8-2 with a 2.82 ERA. The Sparks are also at Dallas, and by the way, that gym is like about a mile and a half away from where the Rangers play, which is kind of hilarious. That game is at 5. Can LA end its season-killing 7-game losing streak? They're 7-14. There's only 40 games in a WNBA season. We'll talk more about that in a moment. So, they had Pac-12 Media Day this week. Back when I was a young man, when I thought I had a future, they would get all the sports writers together, put them on a plane, and send the plane all up and down the West Coast. They used to call it the Pac-10 Skywriters. Well, now, newspapers can't even afford Frontier, so they bring the coaches to one little building, and they all have a confab there instead. A lot of Zoom meetings, things like that. So be it. Chip Kelly and Lincoln Riley, they addressed the press, and they both kind of, sort of sounded wistful about, it's so sad we're leaving the Pac-12 for the Big Ten. I don't think they meant a word of it, honestly. I read 3 articles. 3. All looking for the thing that says, you know what? I really hate this. This sucks. Neither one of them said it. Neither one of them did. Kelly did, however, admit that leaving is kind of sad, but it just proves that college football is all about the money. Yeah, no bleep. We know college football is all about the money, especially when your college's athletic department is $60 million in the red and your football team only draws about 30,000 people at your home games. Yeah, you can be sure that it's going to be more about the money. It is a lot about the money when you have those kind of numbers floating around. What do you want me to say that I haven't already said for the last year or so? No matter how many times the sports writers try to tug at your heartstrings, it's super duper simple. The Pac-10 is obsolete due to lousy management. Lousy management that allowed the Big 10, the Big 12, the Big 90, whatever, the SEC to just rollerblade right past them in terms of relevancy. Had UCLA stayed in the Pac-10 or Pac-12 or Pac whatever, they would never be able to pay off that $60 million debt. And meanwhile, over at the other side of town, USC was falling into absolute obscurity because the conference was playing their games super late at night. East Coast, Midwest prospects were not watching USC football. Their recruiting was falling off the map. So I'm sorry, I'm not going to shed crocodile tears over it. And by the way, neither should UCLA or USC. But we do have some little tidbits about USC that came out on Pac-12 Media Day. For example, the scribes think that USC, they all had a vote. They believe USC is going to win the conference in football. But I'm not always right, and neither are they. Obviously, I'm a USC fan. People who have known me for a while will tell you that. But that second half of the season is going to be brutal. You've got road games at Notre Dame and Oregon. Also, the second half includes UCLA, Utah, and Washington. This is not a fait accompli, despite the recruiting that Lincoln Riley has done to try to boost the defense. And speaking of Riley, he said that he has given some input in terms of who should be USC's new athletic director. Quote, here and there is how he described it. Reggie Bush was found. They asked him what he thought about the 15 billboards that are all around Los Angeles, asking the NCAA to reinstate/return his Heisman Trophy. If you recall, Bush's trophy was taken after an investigation revealed that he and his family received improper benefits when he played for the Trojans. Look, now that there's name, image, and likeness, you call it NIL, the theory goes, look, athletes are getting paid now, so what was the big deal back then? Honestly, I have no opinion about it. I do believe that amateur athletics is a sham, but the rules are the rules. You want to argue one way, you want to argue the other way, I totally hear both sides. Rules are rules, da-da-da-da. Why are you making all the money off the back of Reggie Bush? Totally see it, totally get it. As for Bush, quote, I didn't create the situation. The NCAA created this. Now we're finding out all this information about how dirty the NCAA was. That's on them, that's not on me, unquote. In other words, give me back my damn Heisman. And if he feels that way, I am not going to argue. I loved watching him play with the Trojans, straight up. Clayton Kershaw's next rehab step is going to be a simulated game. He could return to the Dodgers as early as next weekend. We know this because he threw another bullpen session on Friday out in Texas. The first one he threw was 3 days prior. That was 30 pitches. This one was pushing 40. Dave Roberts said that everyone is impressed by the progress, including Kershaw. Now, if he does in fact return next weekend, that probably means it's super late July as opposed to early August. They had originally said it was going to be early August. They didn't want to push things. Maybe they're just pushing it up a couple of days. Not the end of the world. Also with the Dodgers, you could honestly say that LA's minor league system has received more unconditional love than you do from your puppy at home. It's crazy. I mean, more than any other prospect pipeline in sports, the sports writers just slobber all over the ankles of Andrew Friedman and everybody else in the Dodger minor league system over how they keep churning out players or prospects and how they keep being flipped in these major trades. You like to see it, but it's also a little creepy, let's be real. But is all of that attention to the Dodgers minor leagues too good to be true? Is it? Maybe it is. Keith Law of The Athletic released his top 60 Major League Baseball prospects in the middle of the year. Now, the Dodgers have 4 of them, which is okay. But Diego Cartaya, the catcher, and pitcher Gavin Stone dropped precipitously from where they were in last year's list. And they also got horrible reviews for how their performance has been over the last year. Take Cartaya. He falls from 6 to 19. That is not a small little stumble there. Cartaya went into Friday's action. I don't know the box score from Friday's game. Cartaya has not gotten a base hit since the All-Star break. On top of that, he struck out in half the at-bats that he's had since the All-Star break going into Friday's game. For his part, and I realize he's just described, but Law believes that Cartaya has just basically moved up so quickly in the Dodgers farm system that he's finally found something that's giving him a real challenge. So there's that, but it's still a hell of a drop from 6 to 19. By the way, Stone fell from 39th to 59th. He barely made the list, and Law was writing, is like, would you have realized if I didn't put him on the list? Stone had one start this year. You might recall, we were talking about it, how they called him up out of the latest of a myriad injuries on the Dodgers pitching staff. And you consider how Bobby Miller started. You consider how Emmett Sheehan started. People were predicting that Stone was just going to come out and just light the world on fire. And he stunk. It was terrifyingly bad. So Law wrote, quote, "I am having a hard time thinking of a prospect of Stone's caliber having an introduction to the majors that went this poorly," unquote. Ouch. Now, for the record, he doesn't think that Stone is going to flame out. He just thinks that it's going to have to be another adjustment or two. But with those two prospects alone, is it possible that the Dodgers system is a little overrated? Now, the other two players that were listed, you had Dalton Rushing, who is also a catcher, ranked 38. He does project as a major league starter, major league regular. River Ryan, a pitcher, is coming in at 42. He is described as having, quote, number 2 starter upside, unquote. But like I said, you let me know what you think. I'm not sure whether I buy that the Dodgers system is as elite as we've always been told it was. I'm not saying it sucks. The Dodgers have a track record, but perfect? Who's perfect? Now, I do not trust the foreign soccer press. I say these things almost like it's a mantra, like I'm sitting in the lotus position. The foreign soccer press sucks. The foreign soccer press sucks. Look, there is an article, multiple articles, claiming that Glasgow Rangers have signed LAFC midfielder Jose Cifuentes on a, quote, pre-contract deal, unquote. What the hell is a pre-contract deal? Right? So I started doing some research. It's pretty much nothing. It's nothing. It basically sounds like, from what I'm picking up, that Cifuentes goes to Scotland to play with Rangers at the end of the MLS season. And it also sounds like Rangers is trying to kick some extra money to LAFC to make the deal go down now. Recall, in Europe, soccer is a fall, winter, spring sport, not spring and summer and fall like out here. But then you read the story later, the manager for Rangers says, quote, "The clubs are still talking. The decisions are ongoing. Discussions are ongoing," unquote. You know what it means at the bottom line? Is that at this point, Cifuentes, he becomes a free agent at the end of the year anyway. He's out of contract at the end of the year. So this means nothing. If he's out of contract at the end of the year, he can go to Glasgow if he damn well wants. What's the deal? The deal is only, again, don't trust the foreign soccer press. A deal is not imminent. Could happen. It's not imminent. They're just trying to go for headlines to make you freak out if you like the black and gold. Sparks general manager Karen Bryant said she's not happy with the team's record, but she emphasized that injuries short-circuited their season so far. Also, Lexi Brown has returned after missing 11 games, but Chine Ogumike is apparently out for 4 to 6 weeks. There are 2 Ogumike sisters on the Sparks. One, Nanika, is really good. She's good at what she does. Chine, she's all right. She is a starter, so it does matter, but it's not like the Lakers losing one of their top 2, right? But having said that, you lose a starter for 4 to 6 weeks from this point, that means maybe she comes back and plays 1 or 2 games at the end of the season. So the Sparks are in real trouble. The Sparks couldn't even field a league minimum of 9 roster spots at points during the year they had so many their women hurt. So they're tinkering on the abyss for this year. Do you remember how bloggers were swearing on a stack of whatever holy book they claimed to believe in? Maybe they were all swearing on a stack of Steve Jobs' biography. I don't know. But they were claiming that Austin Reeves and Taylor Swift were a thing. Yeah. See, I was always of the opinion that Taylor Swift would never go out with a guy with a haircut like that. But who am I to talk, right? There's a reason I wear a baseball cap. I'm not I am not an attractive man. I totally get it, but I know this much. I know unattractive men when I see it. Austin Reeves with that haircut, not really Taylor Swift material. So according to Reeves, quote, I've never met her, never talked to her. I ain't ever talked to her. He also threw in the word fertilizer, if you want to G-rate it up. When asked if he wanted to meet her, he said he wants to stay out of the media as much as possible. So he may not be a handsome man, but he's got some good old-fashioned common sense in his head. There's that. But you let me know what you think in the comments thread. Talk to me about with Reggie Bush should get his Heisman back. Tell me where the Dodgers would stand with Clayton Kershaw, or where they stand with a overrated minor league system, if you think it's overrated. If you enjoyed the content, don't forget to subscribe to Faithful Angelenos. We're talking LA sports every single day here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Kian Corte El Queso production. Take care.